You've rehearsed an argument that never happened. You've won a fight in your head against someone who wasn't even in the room. Maybe you've replayed a conversation from 3 years ago and finally said the perfect thing, or imagined a scenario so vividly that when reality showed up, it felt like a disappointment. If any of that sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're deeply, fascinatingly human. But here's the question nobody asks. Why do our minds keep writing scripts that never get performed? Today, we're going inside the psychology of people who imagine fake scenarios and what it actually reveals about the way your brain is trying to protect you. There's a technical name for this. Psychologists call it maladaptive daydreaming in its extreme form, but most of us do a version of it every single day. We imagine fake conversations. We rehearse confrontations. We script apologies we'll never give and victories we'll never taste. We build entire alternate lives in the quiet theater of our minds. For a long time, this was dismissed as distraction, as weakness, as something people who can't face reality do. But modern psychology tells a completely different story. The truth is, your imaginary scenarios are not escapes from your psychology. They are your psychology. They are a window into your fears, your unmet needs, your deepest desires, and sometimes your unresolved wounds. So let's pull back the curtain. What is it? When we talk about imagining fake scenarios, we're not talking about regular daydreaming, like picturing yourself on a beach. We're talking about narrative imagining, detailed, emotionally charged mental scripts where you are a character, other people have roles, and there is conflict, resolution, or consequence. You imagine telling your boss exactly what you think of them. You picture your ex realizing they made a mistake. You rehearse a difficult conversation with your parent 5 different ways before it ever happens. This is your brain doing something extraordinary. It's simulating social reality. Neuroscience shows that the same brain regions activated by real experiences are activated when we vividly imagine them. To your nervous system, a rehearsed argument can feel as emotionally real as the actual one. This is not a flaw in the system. It's actually a feature, one that, like most features, can be used well or overused to the point of damage. Why we do it. There are several powerful psychological forces driving this behavior. First, the need for control. Life is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. In the real world, you can't control how a conversation goes, how someone reacts, or whether you'll find the right words. But in your imagination, you are the writer, director, and star. You control every variable. You get to win the argument, receive the apology, deliver the perfect line. For people who grew up in environments that felt chaotic or unsafe, controlling parents, unstable households, unpredictable relationships, the imagination becomes a sanctuary, a place where finally things go the way they should. Second, emotional processing. Sometimes we imagine fake scenarios not to escape emotion, but to feel it. Grief, anger, longing, shame, these are intense. Sometimes the real moment doesn't give us time to fully process. So the mind revisits, replays, rewrites. Think about how many times you've rehearsed telling someone off. In most cases, you'll never say those words out loud, but the mental rehearsal releases something. The anger gets an outlet. The hurt gets a voice. The imagined scenario becomes a kind of emotional pressure valve. Third, social rehearsal. Before a job interview, a difficult conversation, or a first date, imagining how it might go is useful preparation. Your brain is stress-testing possibilities, searching for language, trying to anticipate reactions. Mental simulation is one of the highest-order cognitive skills humans possess. It's how we plan, how we empathize, and how we learn from experiences we haven't had yet. Fourth, unmet emotional needs. Sometimes we imagine scenarios where someone finally understands us, finally appreciates us, finally chooses us, because in real life, that never happened. The mind doesn't forget unmet needs. It keeps drafting scenarios where those needs get fulfilled. It keeps writing the story where you matter, where you're seen, where someone says, "I was wrong about you." This isn't weakness. This is longing. The dark side. For most people, imagining fake scenarios is occasional, harmless, even beneficial. But for some, it becomes consuming, compulsive, a place they go to avoid the discomfort of real life. People spend hours, sometimes the majority of their waking time, lost in internal narratives instead of engaging with real relationships, work, or opportunities. Signs it may be crossing into unhealthy territory. You prefer your imagined version of a relationship to the real one. You replay scenarios so obsessively it disrupts your focus or sleep. You feel shame or secrecy about the extent of your imagining. Real life consistently feels disappointing compared to the scenarios in your head. The imagined world starts to feel more real or more worthy than the actual one. At its root, this pattern is often a response to pain, boredom, or disconnection. Healthy versus unhealthy. Healthy imagining is future-oriented or process-oriented. It helps you prepare, heal, empathize, or create. It leaves you feeling more capable, more clear, or more emotionally settled. Unhealthy imagining is avoidance. It pulls you away from life rather than preparing you for it. It replays the past on a loop. It keeps you emotionally invested in things that are already over. It substitutes for action instead of inspiring it. Ask yourself, after I imagine this scenario, do I feel more equipped to engage with real life or less? That's your answer. How to redirect one. Name the need behind the scenario. Ask yourself, what is this giving me that I'm not getting in real life? Validation, closure, safety, control. 2. Use imagination as a bridge, not a destination. If you keep rehearsing a conversation, either have it or understand why you're avoiding it. 3. Ground yourself when you notice the spiral. Gently bring your attention back to the present, not forcefully, just consciously. 4. Learn from your imagined self. In your scenarios, you're usually more honest, more clear, more brave. What does that version of you know that you're not expressing yet? The fact that you imagine fake scenarios doesn't mean you're disconnected. It means you think deeply. You feel intensely. Your mind is always trying to make sense of your world. Your imagination is not the enemy of your reality. It is one of the most powerful tools your mind has. The goal isn't to stop imagining. The goal is to understand why. Because every fake argument points to a real boundary you haven't set. Every imagined reunion points to a real longing you carry. Every moment where someone finally understands you, that's your mind telling you what you still need. Don't ignore that. Listen to it. Your inner world is not separate from who you are. It is who you are. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And ask yourself, what has your imagination been trying to tell you lately? You already know the answer.